systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope y'all having a good day. 7:20 lock time, 7 games, no weather to worry about. Some early baseball going on. Hope your team's looking good. Still plenty of games left, plenty of innings left. Gyiraszin, how you doing today? It's not your birthday anymore. The birthday weekend's over. It's not going to be any of that, but how's your Wednesday afternoon going?
Can't complain. I worked a little bit today, had to do the day job. You got to get that done. But you're right. There was some afternoon baseball we got to pay attention to. My Tigers with a big 8-0 shutout. Old Scooby-Doo, Mr. Tarek Scuba looking really good. But, so got to catch a little baseball here today. Got to look a little bit here at this slate, which I think is kind of interesting. But, this slate here is, definitely different like yesterday's slate. Of course, the Indians scored 13 damn runs on us, right? And I was just, talking about, I finally gave in to the fact you're going to have to play them a little bit, but I was more resorting to a day like today title where we get a lefty on the hill against the Indians. So, but, like we were talking, we do have a Coors Field slate. It's like almost the same teams as yesterday, basically, that we're going to be looking at pretty much for some bats. There's some interesting pitching options here definitely today that I think is a little bit different. I think, a guy like Manoah might get some ownership here today against the White Sox. I think that's pretty risky. Now, I'm not ballsy enough to want to play a White Sox stack against like a Manoah for leverage, but I'm kind of thinking if there's some people out there who want to play some Alek Manoah against the White Sox, then you all go ahead, right ahead, because that guy scares the shit out of me. He looked terrible in some starts earlier this year. So, there's a lot of different little tidbits here that are kind of make this slate interesting. We got Verlander. We got a couple good pitchers, Amanga, Lugo, and Gill up at the top. But, hey, on top of the good baseball slate title, we got a good week of sports coming up ahead of us too, right?
Yes,
we still got the showdown going down with some NBA. At least Minnesota pulled one out of their ass and got one done. And at least got one. I saw their 5-point favorites. I was thinking, they're all right, 5-point favorites in the next game. I don't care if it's at home or not. I thought that was interesting. I'm thinking I'll take Luka in the 5 points, I think. But I think that one's interesting. And then, hey, we got some MMA coming. We got the golf coming up. I know they just did a golf show today. So, man, all kinds of fun stuff. We talked a little SHIPIT yesterday. And, hey, fun times going on in SHIPIT Nation. If you miss this for a couple days, you never know what you might miss out on. So you got to stick around. And you got to pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Gyiraszin mentioned yesterday, we did a little SHIPIT or SHIPTimizer tutorial, walk through the optimizer a little bit. Last Tuesday, we did it as well. If you're a member, monthly, 6-month, or annual member, you get to mess with the PGA SHIPTimizer and MLB SHIPTimizer for no extra cost. It will be an extra cost, still be the cheapest out there. But right now, if you never use an optimizer, it's the best chance you'll ever have to go mess around with one. If you have used them, check what the differences are. If you want to get comfortable with it, you will save money. If you do end up going with ours, it will be cheaper than the rest. If you like what you got, keep using what you got. But again, if you're a member for MLB only, you get MLB SHIPTimizer. PGA only, get the PGA SHIPTimizer. You mentioned PGA going on. Tambo Hoops still might be live. Good luck to them in the first round of the qualifiers. I know that's going on this week. Tambo had a massive week. Anyone else out there with a ticket, good luck to you guys. MMA live final this week. 2 SHIPIT Nation members will be in Jersey. UFC 302 going to be awesome. NASCAR going on. MLB, NBA, no better time. Join the nation. SHIPITNation.com. Again, weekly packages. No Discord, no SHIPTimizer. Monthly, 6-month, annual, lowest price, best content. Get in there and do get in the Discord. If you join, I want to shout out Austin. Man, that is so hard. 8,800 people. Imagine that. 8,800 you took first. Great stuff, Austin. That is very, very impressive. Give yourself credit, though. You put together that team. Jordan, what's going on? Michael, Jake, Our man Aaron, where's Ham? You get Ham on Mondays and Fridays, but you get Ham in the Discord. You get Ham's core report every single day for FanDuel. So Ham's always doing content. If you want to ask him questions, shoot him a message in the Discord. Monday, Fridays, you find Ham, though. Go collect. Josh, what is going on? Appreciate everyone hanging out. Hope you guys having a good day. Like button, subscribe button helps a ton. I said we talk some baseball, Gyiraszin. My slate overview, I know you talked about it a little bit. I mean, it's only 7 games, so it's a little shorter than we're used to. But they're just not really good hitting spots. Like there's Coors Field. Cleveland's definitely going to be the chalk. So if you play them, you need to get different. Outside of that, the Yankees have about a 5-team total. The Blue Jays have about a 5-team total. The Rockies have about a 5-team total. 4 teams right there. Other than that, I mean, the Braves are the next highest, but it's really low. So right there, how I look at it, offenses will be condensed. If I'm 5-manning any other teams but the ones I mentioned, like it feels very uncomfortable. So I'll probably know I'm eating chalk at bats. I do think there's a handful of pitchers, though, at various price points that you can mix and match. And I do think ownership is relatively spread out. So I think bigger pitching pool, tighter hitting for me. Got to get the secondary stacks right, the one-offs, etc. That's my broad slate overview, though. Any initial thoughts? You want to go right into pitching?
No, I think you're right on it. I mean, it's going to be definitely interesting. I don't think pitching is yesterday. We had obvious kind of spots. I mean, on 2 different sites. With Gausman being so cheap yesterday, but I mean, yesterday was a pretty good pitching slate. I mean, we talked. You liked Waldron. I'll give you credit for that. I mean, I wasn't really too interested in that, and he came out. I mean, Fried, we pretty much had. He ended up 8 innings. We pretty much said, he's been having a long leash. I mean, we were off on Brown. I mean, we'll admit that. I thought the
liked
pitch
him a little bit, but yeah, I mean,
if he didn't have a no-hitter, he probably only does 70, 75 pitches. I'm
maybe.
guessing, maybe it's possible. But hey, man, that kid was dealing, man. And I said it, man. Milwaukee hasn't been able to hit out of a paper bag lately, and definitely looked like shit yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good slate here today. I think the only guy I think pitching is weird today. So, seriously, if you open up the app and you really weren't paying attention to what's been going on, you're a casual baseball fan, you're going to say, Minga, Gill, Lugo, those guys are ahead of Verlander and Kirby. And, what the hell? I think it just kind of looks awkward, to see some of these guys where some of the pricing is. But I think Verlander stands out today. I mean, that's a pretty safe play. I mean, damn, we know.
8K and above. Take it away.
Mariners stink, man. We know they stink.
Yeah, take it away then. Let's go 8K and above. You mentioned Imanaga against the Brewers. Luis Gill's up there. Seth Lugo, the 3 highest price. I know for sure I'm least interested in Lugo. I think I like Imanaga, my favorite, over Gill. Like you said, the Brewers have been so bad. What Ben Brown just did to him. 10.6K, though, and the upside from him, I'm just not sure it's really an upside slate. I do think Gill has more upside. I do think Gill will be a little more popular. The Angels, there's no Mike Trout, you prefer righties going against them. That's what Gill is. So I think him and Imanaga, my guys up top. Verlander has the nut matchup, but he's just someone I really haven't played in the past 2 years because his strikeout stuff's fallen off. He's a game navigator, still a very good real life pitcher. He obviously can get the Ks, and there's no better matchup for it, but I'm still always hesitant, especially a little chalky Verlander. I think the pivot to Kirby's interesting. Manoah, I'm with you. I think he's you build 20 teams. You can play him in a couple teams, and you can stack against him in a couple teams. That's how bad the White Sox are. Manoah's been solid, but we do know Manoah can be very bad. I definitely don't love it, though. Ober, I think, is going to get some ownership, too, at 8K. Then I'll throw it to you. I don't know. He's definitely been very good as of late. His one start that he absolutely got shelled to start the year was against this KC team. I don't love picking on KC, and a kind of chalky Bailey Ober isn't my favorite thing. I don't know how I'm thinking about it. I'll be chalkier at bats. I think Verlander, Ober, Gill kind of get the most ownership. Imanaga's a pivot right there. I think Kirby's a fine pivot. Manoah's a fine pivot. And I don't even hate Mackenzie Gore, to be honest, because he's going to be low owned, and he does have a big-time arm. Do I like picking on the Braves? No. But we'll get there when we go 8K and below. So talk about 8K and above.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Ober. I mean, Kansas City has just been one of them teams you just don't really want to, fool with. Right. I mean, the hitting weather is one of the better spots on the slate there in Minnesota, but I don't know. Ober's a guy that I'm just not, he don't do it for me. I mean, he's nothing wrong with him. I'm not saying he's a bad play here. I couldn't go there against Kansas City. Manoah, as we were saying, I mean, he definitely has the upside, but man, it's like, I mean, it's hit or miss here. You talk about, like yesterday, I was saying stepping in the backyard with some dog shit. I mean, that's definitely some landmines here. Kirby's definitely freaky to me too, a little scary just because he's been up and down a little bit. And then Houston really don't strike out much. So to me, there's not much of a plus upside here for him. So I think that kind of worries me. Verlander now, I think on FanDuel is pretty good play just because you got a pretty good chance for a quality start. He's been around 100 pitches almost every, his last few starts. I mean, Seattle's just been bad. I know Verlander's not the Verlander of old, but I mean, if we can get 6-7 Ks out of a guy here at 8,800 and get 7 innings, sign me up. I think that definitely could be, something you'd want. Lugo, I mean, you look at these 3 top guys, Lugo, Gill, and Umaga. I think you're going to see them kind of spread out a little bit. I mean, you still got Minnesota. They got a pretty high K rate against righties. I like chasing Minnesota with good pitching from the right side. That's what Lugo is. So I definitely don't mind him. And then you got Gill. I mean, you're sitting there with Gill against the Angels team. Kind of yesterday, I was kind of on them. I thought maybe they would be able to get to them. Yes, Cortez yesterday just didn't end up happening, but I think Gill's going to be pretty popular. He's got obviously great win equity. Umaga, I mean, with that ERA under 1, I mean, that's sitting there staring you right in the face. I mean, and you read that, his delivery, and you've been hearing people complaining it's hard to pick up his pitching. So, I mean, the way he delivers. So, I mean, they've not seen him yet. So, I mean, it is a division game. So, I did want to make sure that he hasn't seen him. So, I mean, it's going to be something new to them. So I do like Umaga, but I mean, you're going to pay 10-6. I can't say there's really an offense like yesterday that you knew you wanted to pay up for. So you might want to go up for some pitching today. But, I think Umaga and Verlander are my 2 favorites, probably with Gill right behind them here in the top 3. I mean, those guys, I think I would have Lugo coming in 4. But I'd be out on Manoah. I mean, if you really want to, and you got some stones, you want to go there, but his price ain't cheap enough for me. If Alek Manoah is 6,500 or 6,700, I'd probably play. I'd probably pull that trigger, because that give me an extra bat. I might be able to stomach his, 12 or 8 points or some bullshit. So, but for me, I think it is kind of spread out a little bit up at the top here. But I think Umaga, Verlander are my 2 favorites. Like I said, Gill and Lugo coming in behind. Kirby, I think, is risky just because Houston don't have too many strikeouts. And then Manoah and Ober, no thanks. So, but yeah, I think it's a decent pitching slate.
Yeah. After, again, looking at K props, Gill's the highest on the slate at 6.5, minus 150 on the over. We do have Mackenzie Gore, surprisingly. We're going to get 7K and below. He's 6.5, some juice on the under, which is one of the highest on the slate. Verlander, 6.5, plus 100 on the over. Another one that stood out to me a little bit, Seth Lugo, 5.5, only minus 130 on the over. So, you're looking at him at 9.6K, lower K prop than 7.7K Mackenzie Gore, just to put some things into context. Yeah, I'm out on Lugo. I like Gill. I like Imanaga. Verlander makes a lot of sense. He's going to be chalky, but I think he's a good play. There's no doubt. Kirby, he's the pivots. I do get your concerns, though. The strikeouts really aren't there as much. But it is a slate. If Kirby got you 18 on this slate, I think you're fine with it. You'll need the bats. So fine pivot. I think I prefer him than Manoah. But those are the 2 pivots off Verlander, off Bailey Ober, right in that same range. No strong leans. I would definitely have Kirby and Manoah in my pool, though. And again, more a larger pitching pool and a tighter hitting pool is how I see it today. 7 games, only 4 teams with a team total of 5. A lot in the low 4s. The high 3s. So let's go 8K and below. It's pretty easy for me. 3 guys. Mackenzie Gore, 7.7. Noah Acuna obviously is a plus. Still a good lineup in Atlanta, but I think Mackenzie Gore is solid. 6.5K prop. Juice on the under, but it stands out. Then I just go all the way down. Logan Allen, I guess not all the way, but Logan Allen at 6.9. Do I like it? No, because it's in Coors Field. However, you should have run support. 4.5K prop, juice on the over. Solid for the price. Bryce Wilson, the last guy. He's 6K. going against the Cubs, who have been really bad as of late. Go out there, get me 14 points, give me 13 points at 6K, and it gets me Imanaga, Wilson, and still a good stack or something like that. I like Gore, I guess. The more I talk about it, I think Gore is the one that stands out as pivots from Over, Verlander, et cetera, with big-time upside that doesn't break the bank. Wrap up pitching, talk about this bottom range.
I mean, to be truthful, I think the only one I could stomach pressing is about the lowest I'd go is Gore, to be honest with you on this one. I don't even like any of the, you mentioned Wilson against the Cubs. I'm not really a fan of that one. There's no way in hell I'm pressing Flexen. That guy sucks. I mean, Schellenbach, maybe if you wanted to take a risk against a Washington team, but he really don't strike. They don't really strike out much. So, I mean, yeah, you're playing against a bad team. Maybe you can get a win equity, but I mean, this kid started out at AA, had a couple single A, high single A ball, had a couple AA starts. And, now all of a sudden he finds himself in the majors here at the end of May. I mean, it's kind of a pretty big jump for that. So, I mean, I think that's pretty scary too. I mean, that kid's not cheap enough either for me to play. Now, like I said, if he was like 6K, maybe even 5K, I'd think about Schellenbach a little bit more, but I can't do it. But yeah, I like your Gore call. I think he is a really good pivot. I think Atlanta may come in as, one of maybe we only got 14 teams, but I'm going to guess Atlanta's still going to come in on the top 5 in stacks, I would assume, probably in ownership just because they're the Braves. So I think you could get a little leverage more so than the other guys by playing Gore, because you may see some of the Braves get some ownership, but I don't mind Gore at all. I think it's a decent play actually that may get overlooked here today, but Gore's been pretty good.
Let's rank them. Your top 3.
Top 3 in the whole thing. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'd go Amanga, Verlander, and then I'd go Gill.
I'm going to go Imanaga. I'll go Gore, Verlander at ownership, obviously. Like Verlander, I really want to get away, but I wish it was a different pitching slate. Like I wish it was like a 12-gamer, or even like yesterday, an 11-gamer. I think yesterday was 11. Maybe it was 10. But there felt like so many pitching options. Like you can easily cross off Flexen, Blash, Tyler Anderson. I guess really those are the only ones. It's a solid pitching slate for 7 games, but more games, the more upside pitchers if you had on the slates. Like 19 could be good enough from Verlander, and I feel like he by far is the safest floor on the slate going against the Seattle team. So
yeah, I think today isn't a bad day to actually pay down for pitching, because there, to me, doesn't seem to be too many guys that can just absolutely crush.
But you don't want to play Wilson and Allen, so who are you paying for?
I mean, I wouldn't play Wilson and Allen. If I was to go down, I would just go with Gore and Verlander and just
7, yeah.
Probably go that route if I was to go on the cheaper side. I mean, that's pretty cheap, only spending 16.5 on some pitching. So, I don't mind that at all. I think that would be interesting. But I mean, then again, I don't think you really need to have the as you mentioned, there's 4 teams with the team total of 5. So I think some of the bats are they're all going to be fairly highly owned. So yeah. I think, I think to get different in some bats today, if you want to go that route, you're going to have to hit that one-off guy today. So I think that's going to be pretty important. It gets to be more important when the bats are condensed, unless you just flat out want to go like Washington today and go against this AA pitcher and flat out nail it. And then you probably will have, you won't have too much competition at the top of tournaments if the Nats win off here today. So I don't, we'll get there, but that's just
get there right now.
You can do it too.
It's the first game on the night. Yeah, let's get there right now. Kind of the slate overview I talked about early. If you're not playing like Cleveland, you're not playing who's the others? Colorado, I guess, isn't going to get, I don't think, too much. The Yankees are going to get a good bit. So really Yankees, Guardians, Blue Jays. If you don't play them, yeah, Rockies will get some too. Like if you stack any of these team totals below like 4.4, I'll even throw Braves in there. I don't think Braves get that much ownership. Of course, maybe a little bit, but because if people pay up, they're going to want the Judge or the Sotos with the Yankees. They're going to want Jose Ramirez and Nailers with Cleveland. And if you do play these Braves, you got to pay for them. Ozuna, Olsen, Riley, etc. So this first game, Gore and Spencer Swollenbach, 8.5 total in Atlanta, 80 degrees, wind blowing out a little bit. Good hitting weather, solid. ownership on both sides of this one. You get the AA pitcher you were talking about. So talk about some of these Nats. Braves, I like Mackenzie Gore. I'm siding with Mackenzie Gore, but I do think like if you're playing 20 teams, it could be another. You play some Mackenzie Gore. The Braves, still one of the best offenses out there, will be relatively low owned. Good hitting weather. It's not crazy if the Braves were on the winner tonight. 4.16 total. So again, him and Gore and Manoah, I think, are the two. You can definitely play them. You can also get play the other side as well. You're not really getting leverage, though. Break it down.
Yeah, I agree with those two. You could definitely play against those two or play them, play them for sure. But yeah, this Washington Atlanta game. I mean, I think Washington's interesting because of this AA. Like I said, with Schallenbach. I mean, we got a righty coming in. I mean, CJ Abrams is becoming a guy. I mean, at the shortstop position, that just makes it tough to, not play a top level shortstop. This guy's been smashing. Lane Thomas isn't too bad. You got Winker who can hit. I mean, Gallo get a hold of one. I mean, I think you could just full out stack Washington here today. I actually like Washington a little bit more than the Braves, and I think the Braves will probably get more ownership probably by far. So I think Washington's interesting. I don't know. I just think Washington's is gonna be my sneaky stack here today. I can tell you that one. So
yeah,
but definitely like them. I mean, if you wanted to look at the other side here with against Gore, I definitely don't mind. Zuna's got a 431 WOBA against lefties. He hits them very well. But Austin Riley, probably will be up at the top of that lineup. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think Duvall, I mean, he hits lefties pretty decent. So, I mean, that's a cheap outfielder you could look at if you wanted a one-off. But, I think I'm going to be off on a Braves stack here today. I respect Mackenzie Gore enough to stay off of that. I think maybe if you wanted to pluck some one-off guys, maybe if you wanted to do something like that, I would recommend that. But I think more or less I like Washington in this spot. I keep trying to talk myself into just going overweight and just playing a bunch of Washington.
Do it
today, but I'm not so convinced. I'm going to probably play 3 or 4 teams on over there on FanDuel. So I think I'm gonna definitely have a couple of them will have me some Washington stacks.
Yeah, I mean, if I play in Washington, Abrams is almost definitely in there. Lane Thomas looks good. You want Joey Gallo? I mean, he's talking about really low own at first base. 0 very likely, but if it's not 0, 14 is definitely in the cards there. Winker. So yeah, I can get behind some of them. Braves, definitely. I like Ozuna. You can do it as a one-off too, an expensive one-off to get different. Like I like little stuff like that on this slate. Duvall, like you mentioned, 3.8K. Yeah, there's some strikeouts though, especially in the middle of the bottom of the order for Mackenzie Gore, at least the projected lineup. So I lean Mackenzie Gore. I don't think Braves are crazy on this slate. Either side of that game. Next one, Blue Jays, White Sox. Chilly in Chicago, 60 degrees. Alek Manoah, Chris Flexen on the mound, 8.5 total. Blue Jays will be one of the more popular teams. Like outside of Coors, Blue Jays one of the highest team totals. Chris Flexen's cheeks, the bullpen's cheeks. To be honest, though, Toronto you could kind of throw in there. They I guess got it done yesterday, but no home runs. If you didn't play Davis Schneider, you really didn't get much from them. Of all the chalk, like you're talking Yankees, Guardians, Blue Jays. Blue Jays are definitely my least favorite. So it's not really even close. They do get guaranteed 9th inning at bats. They are relatively cheap-ish compared to those other teams. But yeah, it's cold, and I don't like playing these Blue Jays. What are you doing?
Yeah, Blue Jays have just been they just been the stinky fucking just stinking up the joint. I mean, they scored 7 runs yesterday. Like you said, they had no home runs. I mean, and you said Schneider had 2 of the doubles that pretty much got them most of their runs. So it's just, they put up a few runs, but in DFS, you really didn't benefit all too much from it. So Blue Jays are just, they're becoming one of them teams that just overall are kind of tough to play. I mean, you look at Flexen though. I mean, he can't really strike out righty. He's got a 12% strikeout rate against the righties. From last season, he's not good. Doesn't have a high ground ball rate. I mean, Flexen's just not somebody that's just good. So, I mean, you look at it on paper and you think, Toronto should kick his ass. Yeah, it's Chris Flexen. And that's why I think people are looking at him. But when you peel back a couple layers of that onion, man, I'm just not happy with what I see. I mean, I just don't think the homers are there. I just not like how this Blue Jay lineup has been performing. So I'll let everybody else hop on it. I think it's one of these situations like, I'll say if it beats me, it beats me because I'm just not really I don't want to play it. So I'm not going to force it.
What about these White Sox?
No, the White Sox.
This lineup is literally just so bad.
I think you're right. It flipping blows. And I was telling you yesterday, I used Nicky Lopez yesterday for 2,100 yesterday as a one-off in one of my FanDuel teams that he ended up getting me 18 points, a double and a triple. I was all, thinking he was coming out. He was my first guy out the gate. I'm like, wow, the guy I literally was just like punting, just hooked me up with 18 points. I was like, this is awesome. I think I had with the Yankees, and then Soto hit a first inning homer, and then Pilar hit one. I had him on the Angel. I was like, dude, I'm going to fucking roll this thing. So, and then everything come to a screeching halt. But, I don't know, man. I think the only guy you can literally play here is Gavin Sheets if you want to go anywhere. I mean, you could look at Gavin Sheets. I mean, he's about the only guy I think I could stomach playing.
Your boy, Nicky Lopez is 2-3 again in the 2-hole at second. To be honest, he's probably over.
Yeah, if you really want a savings at second base, I mean, that's the only where I would put him, like punting at a second base, which I did yesterday. But, I guess you could use Lopez. I don't want to say it, but I think Gavin Sheets has definitely got the best matchup upside to get you, a homer, maybe a double dong. But, give me some Gavin Sheets maybe as a guy that you might throw as one. He's cheap too, so I don't mind him.
Yeah, and so we did just Najee Great said he liked the Toronto lineup. Danny Jansen's out. Kirk is in the 7-hole and Varsho's in the 2-hole. So Najee Great likes that. Hey, it makes sense.
I like Varsho. Varsho is a guy that I do like. I mean, there's only a couple guys on there that are really hitting for I mean, Bichetta's picked it up a little bit here recently. But Varsho and Schneider have been hitting, and Jansen's not too far behind. Yeah,
I like Jansen. Like I kind of wish Jansen was in the lineup. Varsho's fine too. To be honest, Flexen's so bad, and the White Sox are so bad. Like anybody
stinks.
Yeah, instead of like this could be the Marlins, this could be San Fran. Like we'd have interest in really any of these teams, but at ownership, yeah, I'm good getting off these Blue Jays. Next game: Cubs, Brewers. Soto, Imanaga, Bryce Wilson, 7.5 total. I don't really like this game. I will say, though, if you think like Bryce Wilson somehow gets 20% ownership, which I don't probably think he is, but I don't really know. There's enough pitching options. But if people want to jam Cleveland and they want to play one of Gill or Imanaga or something, maybe people go Bryce Wilson. And if that was the case, I think some of these Cubs would be interesting at very, very low ownership. I think, Cubs would probably be my like sneaky stack. If I had to pick one stack has a 4-team total or lower, I think probably the Cubs. But I really don't like the Cubs too much either. I would just bet on talent. Tauchman, Bellinger, Happ, Bush, the lefties mainly. But yeah, I really don't like this game too much. Wilson under 10% owned. I don't think he's going to be way under 10% owned. I definitely don't think that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not really interested in playing him. I couldn't play him, but I mean, you're talking about the Cubs. He's got a pretty high ground ball rate to righties, so definitely want to stick with some lefties. So Bellinger, I think would be interesting. We'll have to see where Tauchman, Bush. I think those guys you could all play, but yeah, I'm just going to stay away from this one. This one's got a pretty low total overall too, at 7.5. So I mean, both teams have been struggling hitting. We saw it yesterday. I mean, and then what? They end up scoring a bunch of runs at the late part of a game, when they get a free guy in second base. So, I mean, it kind of screwed up. But that game was what, 1-0, 0-0, like almost all the way through the 8th or 9th inning yesterday. But
Freddie was dealing, just no run support.
Yeah, I mean, we might see something pretty similar today. I think that kid's just good. Fumanga's just good. I think he's gonna give the Brewers a hard time.
Yeah, I think so too. What's going on, Ken Linen? What's going on, Ben? Hope you're doing well. We are doing well over here. 4 games left. I pretty much said 3 because this Royals Twins, Seth Lugo, Bailey Ober game has none of my interest in terms of bats. Now, I shouldn't say that. I think a couple one-offs or a mini stack on KC could be interesting since Ober's going to get some ownership. My favorite's easily Bobby Witt. Salvi, Nelson Velasquez, MJ I think's fine too, but it's mini stacks at best. Bobby's probably the guy, and I do like I didn't really love Bobby yesterday as much, but I think Abrams and Bobby Witt, Ozuna, I think like expensive one-offs on a slate like this is a good way to get different. And if they double dong or Bobby gets his couple stolen bases, 3 base hits, something like that, Ozuna goes deep, like they're expensive, but 1 home run, 1 swing of the bat makes them not expensive in baseball. So yeah, Royals minis. I think Bobby Witt's an interesting one-off though. No, I don't really like the Twins. I don't think Lugo gets enough ownership, and he's been good this year. So no Twins for me.
Yeah, no Twins for me either. I'm not interested. And I mean, some of the Royals you mentioned, Bobby Witt, another shortstop, as we've been talking about, makes that position much deeper. Vinny, you could play some Vinny there. I mean, Salvi's been had one of his better career years. So yeah, I think they're all in play here. Ober, what's his K prop? 5.5. I mean, that's interesting. I think I like the under.
Juice on the under.
I think I would bet the under in that one, but because the Royals really don't strike out too much. But I think the Royals would be more of a mini stack, like you said, maybe pluck some one-off guys. But yeah, another game at 7.5. I'm not looking at stacking any of these dudes.
A lot of our guys came in. Squid, Paraby, Michael. Hope you guys doing well. No NBA, so Paraby's in the MLB streets, in the MLB YouTube chat. Hope you guys doing well. Paraby in here. Doing well. 3 games left. This one we cannot skip, Gyiraszin. 7.5 total to 11 total. Coors Field, Guardians, as you like to say, Indians, Rockies, Logan Allen, Ty Blatch on the mound. 75 degrees. I mean, man, Guardians coming off an absolute nuke. Rockies, I think Rockies are a little interesting too. Like, they're the 5-team total that's going to get the lowest ownership. And yeah, I mean, on a slate that there's not many hitting options, I'll be playing some of these Rockies, even though it's gross. At least Diaz, though, Montero, Rogers, Tovar, even Hunter Goodman, dual position eligibility down there. The thing is, they have 2 catchers, which I guess is nice. Stallings and Diaz. I say it's nice because you're probably not going to play both of them anyway. Then you have like second base, third base, shortstop, first base. They are pretty easy to stack with the top of the order at the infield positions. So yeah, I think Rocky's a little interesting. Everyone knows the Guardians are good. You preached it yesterday. Guardians against a lefty, crushed a righty. Now get even a better matchup today. The thing is, like, at what ownership are they just unplayable, I guess is the question. And if you do play them as a 5-man, especially Ramirez or the top of the order, maybe I want to go something like Manoah and Gore or something like that. Like, I don't want to go Verlander, Ober, and 5-man Cleveland, or like Gill and one of those 2. You really got to think what you're doing playing Cleveland. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Cleveland, here we get a lefty. As I mentioned, Cleveland is one of the better hitting teams in all of baseball against lefties. They got the second highest slugging percentage, OPS. I'm sorry. I think it is actually second highest slugging at 451. OPS 787. They hit the second most homers, where they're in second place. There's a handful of teams that have 20 homers against lefties, which they do as well. So, I mean, yeah, I like this spot, but as you and I were kind of talking before we even came on, I mean, the Indians are like, they remind me of like like when Russell Wilson was good, when he had, a couple of his receivers, all he threw was 2 dudes, right? It was the same 2 receivers. It's like the same thing here. It's the same 3 dudes that get all the points here for the Indians. It's obviously Jose Ramirez. Fry's been absolutely smashing the shit out of it. And then you got Josh Naylor. It's like the same 3. You get once in a while, you get one of everybody else, but it's like the bottom part of this lineup just isn't producing anything to where you're really, like, to me, it's like you're stacking these guys, this stack, and like the bottom part of these lineups, when you're getting the Rochoyo, the Hedges, the Ariases, and, the Jonathan Rodriguez is the bottom. I mean, it's just not, it just doesn't do anything for me, right? It's like there's only like a handful of dudes, so it's like, to me,
I will say, I was going to interrupt, but I didn't. Jimenez he's been on fire.
I'm not saying, yeah, he's been too, but I'm just saying the home run's been the same 3 dudes in the last like week. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's like you can only play the top half of this lineup, really. I mean, if you wanted to slip in a bottom guy, I mean, they're not hitting homers, so I think if I'm going to put, I definitely like some Indians. I think they're the better stack today, but I just getting scared 5-man stacking them on DK because I feel like I'm jamming in 2 guys that are going to not really do too well. So I'm thinking, maybe mini them. I do like some of these Colorado bats, but man, that Rocky lineup looks funny to me when I don't see Charlie Blackmon in it. It just looks weird.
Yeah, lefty though. Like
I don't
they
care.
wanted to throw
The
more
bearded
righties.
Wonder Man should be in there every damn time. He's a better hitter than he could hit probably these dudes on his knees better than half these other fucking clowns like that. So
I kind of like this Rockies. I will say the thing with Cleveland, I think they're better in larger field stuff when their ownership is more spread out than the 250 or the 121. I think Guardians will probably be. You could see them the 30% range. And in baseball, I just don't think anyone's really on a 7-game slate worth at that ownership. So, yeah, I guess I preferred in larger field stuff. Probably would get away in single entry stuff. But that's just predicting ownership. If they came in 20%, that might, or 15%, then I would play him something like that. So I just Jonathan Rodriguez is in the lineup. He's going to get ownership at 3-2. Gabriel Arias, even though he's at the bottom of the order, third base, shortstop eligibility, he's going to get ownership naturally under 4K. People are going to play Jose Freeman, even though he busted yesterday. If he's leadoff, 4-1, Naylor, Fry, people are going to play these guys. So it's hard to get different, even stacking some of the bottom of the order pieces.
Fry's so expensive too. I mean, you put in Fry and Naylor and Ramirez. I mean, you just ate up a big chunk of your salary. So
that's where people will go Wilson. And that's what people have to think. That's when Wilson teams think of combinations, stuff like that.
Yeah. And and two, let's say you like a stack and you wanted to one-off one of these high-priced Indians. I don't mind that either, because if, their home runs are kind of condensed. So, if one guy, let's say it's, like Naylor, hit 2 yesterday. I mean, you get that again today, or what Fry did. I mean, it's a pretty good pivot off somebody a stack if you wanted to replace a high price guy with one of these other guys in a one-off, and then put somebody else through there maybe and go middle part more of a lineup for someone. But yeah, I think this game's kind of interesting. I think I would just game stack this one really because none of these Rockies are really that expensive. They're not going to probably be that popular. I mean, we saw him put up 7 runs yesterday. I mean, they get Logan Allen today. That bullpen, though, for the Indians is obviously I've been saying it's the best in baseball. The Rockies is the worst. So, I mean, I think, it's a decent spot, but yeah, the Rockies do worry me because if that bullpen comes through, it's just going to get a little tighter for them. But it's interesting. I think the game state, we don't have much for offense, as you mentioned. So I think, Rockies, as you mentioned, one of the only teams that isn't getting any love with a team total over 5. And I don't mind it. I think I'd just game stack it up.
Yeah, Rockies are my preferred side, actually, on this slate at ownership. I think they'll be under-owned, and I think Cleveland will be over-owned. Now, man, Corey Seager just went deep. Hopefully you guys got him on your early team. Very few as hot as Corey Seager right now. Takedown, what's going on? Austin, there we go. I figured when you said you shifted out of that many people, you needed Fry, you needed Naylor, you needed J Ram. Awesome stuff there, Austin. 2 games left. Again, appreciate that like button. Appreciate that subscribe button. If you want to join us at The Nation, SHIPITNation.com. Head over weekly, monthly, 6-month, annual options. If you just want MLB, we have MLB only as well. Golf locks tomorrow, UFC 302 this week. NASCAR going on, huge week. NBA playoffs, MLB, of course, NHL playoffs. A lot of money to be made in the DFS streets. What's going on, Eddie? Getting ready to see the Yankees tonight in Anaheim. Ooh, have fun right there. Hey, that's a perfect lead-in. Let's talk about these Yankees and the Angels. Luis Gil, Tyler Anderson on the mound. 65 degrees, 8.5 total. Gil is going to be somewhat popular. Yeah, I think rightfully so. This Angels lineup has been solid. Definitely way better against lefties. They've overachieved without Trout, but it's still no Trout against a good pitcher in Gil at solid pitching weather. I'm not playing these Angels. I like the Gil side. As far as the Yankees against Anderson, I like the Yankees more than the Blue Jays. Yankees, I wish I knew, obviously. I wish I knew, of course. This is going to sound so dumb. But the difference of ownership between the Guardians and the Yankees. If it's 2 times higher owned, give me the Yankee side. If it's a little closer, that's why I think single entry, the gap will be farther. Whereas in larger field stuff, I think the gap will be smaller, which is why I prefer Guardians in larger field stuff. I like these Yankees, like in a vacuum. Yeah, I think Guardians are more likely to be on the winner. But if you give me the ownership discounts, the top of the order looks great. Anderson's bad against lefties too. Bad against righties, bad against lefties. Soto's been on fire. Judge is there. Guaranteed ninth inning at bats. I like these Yankees. Yeah, that's really all I got. No Angels for me. What about you?
Yeah, I like the Yankees today too. I mean, I wish they could have got it done a little bit more yesterday for us, but I mean, Judge obviously been one of the hottest hitters on the planet, so definitely got to consider him. You know, Soto hit us a bomb yesterday, so don't mind that at all. Anderson obviously he struggles against righties. He's only got a 15% K rate to righties. Not really a very good ground ball rate. He does have a high ground ball rate to lefties. But fly ball rate.
That's it though. I mean, he still strikes out nobody, some hard contact.
He's getting the ball. People are getting the bat on the ball against him. It's just, but you know, with a guy like Soto, you don't got to worry too much about. He's not a ground ball hitter, you know, like he's going to get the ball in the air. So I definitely don't mind Soto, but I was just, you know, getting it out there. That's about his only spot you need to really be concerned about. But Tyler Anderson, I mean, he ain't nothing special, but I think, you know, today, top of that lineup, Volpe, Judge, Stanton, Torres. I don't know if he's going to get bumped up or not. Did he get bumped up to 5?
We don't have the lineup out yet. I think he will be though.
Yeah, if he gets bumped up a little bit, I like sometimes when guys get bumped up in the lineup. You know, we've talked about that before. You know, if a guy's sitting around 7, 6, 7 hole, 8 hole, and then all of a sudden he gets bumped up to most times it's to the 2 hole. But you know, when somebody gets bumped up, I kind of like to you know, if I'm in between guys, that could be a difference maker for me. Like, oh, manager moved him up. He must know something that we don't, or he likes the way he's swinging it in you know, batting practice. So, yeah, Eddie Trevino. I do like Trevino, the catchers. I don't like playing Wells. I like Trevino, and he's a guy that gets forgotten a lot. I think he's already got 5 or 6 home runs already. So Trevino is definitely somebody that I don't mind extending, especially on DK when you got to play a catcher. So don't mind him at all either. So. Yeah, I think the Yankees, I mean, it's a similar kind of thing like we had yesterday, Title, you know, where, you know, the Yankees could be a pivot off that Coors game. It just didn't quite work out yesterday. Indians went fucking crazy on us, but, you know, Rockies end up putting up some runs too. But I think this Yankees got potential too to be definitely be on the winner tonight.
For sure. So first of all, I want to shout out this comment. The SHIPIT Nation Discord alone is worth the price. Community is awesome. Definitely echo that because of people like Parabai, who's always in there. Some of these names, Squid's always in there talking MLB. Ken Linen's in the Discord. A lot of people watching YouTube. Go Collect. How do I forget about the Drafters champ himself? Always in there. So many knowledgeable members helping people out. Little Neck's been doing like writing his own breakdowns and his own. I don't even know exactly what to call it. Like a metric on how he ranks people. In the Discord for NBA, you get Rio's thoughts. Obviously, the Discord, so good. Can ask anybody questions. I did want to show this off quick, though. The Stone. Not giving any information away today. No pictures, rankings. That's all members. These games obviously were played this morning, but we did make an update to the Stone. People were very happy with it. I think it's very sharp. You can see on the far right, obviously, this is where lineups are confirmed. So an MLB Stone. If it's projected, it'll say projected. When it's confirmed, get the implied total, the Vegas odds, the time, etc. What we did add, our projection, the ownership, the rankings. So this is from our hitter rankings. Now you don't even have to have multiple tabs up. You can see, like we had Jared Jones ranked 14th, Scooball 9th in our pitcher rankings, Detroit where they ranked, etc. So very easy. The Stone, we want it to be a one-stop shop. You see the WOBAs, home road splits. You see the pitchers, obviously. You want the projections, the ownership, the rankings. If you want the K-prop, you can also go, if you're not going on like DraftKings Sportsbook or something, easily find that as well. The Stone, a one-stop shop. This is the Slate info page there. Again, you can find K-props. Just wanted to show that off. We made that adjustment, or I guess that addition yesterday. A lot of good feedback. I think it is very nice and easy for the people. Always trying to add on, make stuff better, more efficient for people. Last game, Gyiraszin. It's not going to take me very long. Astros, Mariners. Verlander, George, Kirby on the mound. 7 total in Seattle. Not something that we like to play much. However, what I will say, Verlander is going to get some ownership, not really Kirby. So I guess if I had to pick a preferred side, it would be Mariners to try and get leverage. Cal Raleigh, Luke Raley, Julio Rodriguez, J.P. Crawford, I guess my favorites. Do I get there, though? Mini stacks, one-offs really at best. I don't love this game.
Yeah, I don't like bats there. I mean, if you wanted to get a little bit ballsy and you're playing a lot, MME and a bunch of teams, yeah, I would throw some Seattle teams in there just because of the fact of, hey, we've seen Verlander get beat up a little bit. He can give up some home runs. He's getting to be a little dusty. He's getting a little porky. I don't mind. I'd be too if I was him going home to that wife. I'd be one happy ass. I wouldn't even be playing baseball. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I'd be at home smacking them. That's what I'd be doing. But, how can you not, man? Jeez.
You want to be playing? You just be living in your basement next to her?
No,
you're going to go out of the house and play some baseball?
Hell no. I'd get a trampoline in the backyard. I'd have all the stuff for those things were jugging all around. And then I'd be hiding. You know what I'd do? I'd stuff her bras in the dryer so that they busted out of her shirt even more, so that they dried up a little bit, and then it'd be all coming up. All right,
what you got on this game?
What you got on this? Anybody you want. I wouldn't give 2 shits. I'd probably get free drinks every damn bar. I wouldn't care, Tom.
Yeah, you probably would. What you got in this one? Nothing? The trampoline.
Hey, we're going for some JV law. He needs to come back to Detroit so we can catch his woman up at the Comerica Park. That's what we need. Come on home, JV. We need those beach buoys to come back over here to Detroit. We need to see them things. Sweater puppies.
So no batters in that game.
Nah.
You
got me all excited. But see, Bush and boobs, that gets me excited. I can't help it.
Hey, did the wife hear any of that?
She's not home, so I can yell it all I want. But she knows how it is. We be at a big park or somewhere, like somewhere. She give me the elbow. Look at that girl. She knows. She hooks me up.
I thought you were gonna do something else down there. All right, well that's enough of that. Hell of a breakdown is right. That's the man, the myth, the legend, Gyiraszin himself. Don't find that content anywhere else. Awesome stuff, Gyiraszin. Any final thoughts for the people about the slate or whatever you want to talk about?
Hey, we got 7 games. We've had some fun day of baseball today. Had a little daytime baseball, but like I said, fun times here at SHIPIT Nation. You guys got to get in there. Check out that Shiptimizer. Especially if you're kind of new to DFS, it's an opportunity to fool with one and play with one and get a kind of an idea of what it's all about. And like I said, play around with it and put it in some quarter contests, put it in some cheap ones and just see how it works for you for a week or two. You don't have to, get crazy with it and then bump it up to your main stuff. But I think it's a great opportunity for, DFS players that might be novice to learn and just, and every optimizer is kind of different. They all offer different things and different features. So, just because you get a hold of one, don't mean you know how to use, the next one. But I think it's pretty cool that, you have that opportunity here. All the other sports, I can say, title from my own doings. Like, I'm bored and I, friends around, they want to watch some MMA fights. I might send you or somebody a message and look what we got. Like, hey, help me build me a team, man. I'm going to be sitting around. I don't know jack shit about it, but it's just fun to be able to have that access and that content right at your fingers. Let us do some hard work for you. You trust, these guys are at least in there getting it, doing the grinding for you. So it's definitely something that I think is awesome here that we have at SHIPIT Nation. But, we got the partnership with 4 Deep with the sports betting, I think is really cool too that we have. So if that's something else you want to dabble in, and they just don't give you picks, like they really get in depth. They understand, they explain to you why they might be doing something. So you can kind of take that knowledge and run with it the next time when you're out there. So I think it's really cool what we have going and, big weeks coming up. It's just not about baseball at this time of year where a lot of people are like, it's just baseball. Yeah, bullshit. We got golf, we got MMA, we got some NASCAR. And you know what? We got time for you to hone in that Shiptimizer and get ready for some football. And like I mentioned, now we got 99 days until the NFL first game. Yesterday was 100. So, hey, we're going to get some best ball stuff coming here. We got you on board, ex-champ. 2 years ago, we can't call you the reigning champ. But you still got the, You still got the hardware over there.
Hey, there we go. This is the only hardware I got. This is the only hardware I got.
That's all you got was a damn T-shirt.
I was on the phone with dude. He still might be sending something. I didn't want to ring, so like he offered. I was like, I want
one of them belts from one of them belts or whatever they got.
I wanted a trophy, but I don't know. He said maybe, so that means probably not.
Yeah.
I got a shirt though. Come on, Gyiraszin. I got a shirt.
You got a shirt that, a couple more times it's going to be gray and it's not even going to fit you anymore. You keep working out the way you are, you're going to be lean, mean fighting machine. You ain't going to fit. You might have to wear a medium or something. You might get skinnier. You might get.
No, I'm trying to bulk. The bulking season's trying to hit right now, but every day's a grind for sure. That's all 7 games. Always fun talking to my man Gyiraszin. Always enjoy the laughs. Laughing's good. Gyiraszin makes you laugh. ShipItNation.com. Check out slate plan, core reports, hitter rankings, stack rankings, pitcher rankings. The Stone, a one-stop shop, like Gyiraszin says. You would need 6 minutes to build an MMA lineup. Go to the Stone. You don't have time to read my reports or Marley's reports. The Stone shows everything you need. That's the goal for all sports. One-stop shop. ShipItNation.com. No better price in the industry. Spend less on content. Spend more on contests. Still get the same quality, projections, ownership. Get in the Discord if you do join. Everybody out there, have a great night. Enjoy this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. For my man Gyiraszin, I'm Titletown. Peace. Be safe.